Good morning and welcome to Our Issues Milwaukee. I'm your host, Andrea Williams. Our focus on today's show is on outstanding young people who are making a difference here in our community. My first guest is not only a great role model, but comes from a family of role models. Clifton Phelps is a partner of JCP Construction and president of Equity Supply Group. His unique background in commercial real estate, property management, and nonprofit management gives Clifton a big picture view while managing the day-to-day business with his two brothers, James and Jalen Phelps. How are you?
Hey, how's it going?
I'm glad to have you here, Clifton. And JCP Construction was actually founded by you and your brothers in 2008?
Yep, 2008.
Wow, tell us more about this business.
It was founded upstairs from my parents' house on 2nd and Locust, 2008. We all decided to quit our regular 9-to-5s and jump into the entrepreneur world more on a long-term, or more on a permanent instead of part-time, as we were doing before. It was kind of odd waking up in the morning and going to the dining room table for our morning meetings because I stayed upstairs from my parents at that time. But it was definitely something that we all want to sacrifice with, or we knew that we had to sacrifice in order to start to get our name out there.
That is pretty amazing, because anyone that knows anything about starting a business or entrepreneurship knows that it's no cakewalk.
No.
And then you guys decided to do a construction business.
Yeah.
So that's pretty major in itself. Explain how you really came up with the concept of going into construction.
Well, essentially, we've always been in construction. Our dad was in construction, and meaning, what I mean by that is he always worked on different houses and always dragged us along to our different properties on Saturday. Saturday's gang was always trying to hide from my dad before he yelled at what he wanted us to do. So that was the name of the game. So I think that started there from Pops always. He was like a jack of all trades. He did everything, not necessarily 100% right, but it was done right. But that kind of motivated us, and plus going to Milwaukee, we all went to Milwaukee Tech, so we were kind of 4 years kind of incorporated with trades around us. So leaving Milwaukee Tech with your shop certificate kind of planted you in the trades frame of mind.
Wow.
I think after graduation, I think we all kind of went our separate ways, and then came together to kind of form a property, not a property management company, but we were essentially kind of flipping houses and kind of dipping and dabbing inside of, buying a house, fixing it up, trying to sell it, but we saw the market was going to slow down, so we knew we definitely needed to make a change inside of a more sustainable market.
Wow, I mean, that is amazing, because really, you think about it, a lot of dads do that.
Yeah.
Come on, I'm about to go paint this house, put yourself to good use, or whatever the case may be, some drywalling, but you guys were learning along the way, and look at you now. What does your dad think?
Well, you know what? Unfortunately, Pops passed away about 2 years ago.
That's
okay.
But he did see the success.
Oh, he did. He did start to see the success that we were trying to make. And one of the last times I saw, I took my dad to the building that we're at now, because we're only there 2 years, and I was excited about kind of showing him the outside, like, hey, we're about to buy this building. It's right on King Drive, and he was like, how much is that going to cost you? Because my dad was cheap.
Frugal.
Yeah, frugal, but I like to call it cheap. We didn't have we didn't have McDonald's. We had Phelps growing up.
That's so funny.
Yeah, but he was
great
definitely
memories,
proud.
right?
Yeah, definitely.
Which leads to my next question. Obviously, your father served as a great role model.
Yep.
Who were some of the other role models that you had growing up in the community?
I want to say growing up to age 18, I was definitely my parents, my mom and my dad, obviously. But other people, other role models we had. Once I got closer to the age of 18, because there wasn't a lot of role models on 2nd and Locust, where I would say people like Eve Hall and Faith Colas and Frank Cumberbatch, these are the people I met when I was around 18 and 19 years old to kind of push me forward, going off to school and making those right decisions.
And where did you attend college?
Tuskegee University.
All right, I love that. HBCU graduate.
Yep.
And I'm sure all of the people that you've named are equally as proud, just watching you over the years continue to not only grow into the man that you are, but really be a role model for so many other young people in our community.
Yeah, they played a great part and kind of make me to who I am today. So parent I am today and so forth.
That's awesome.
Daughter goes to Tuskegee too, by the way.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah,
that's
she's a
wonderful.
freshman,
So that means you were a great role model there too. According to Forbes, the construction industry is showing continued strong growth across the country. In fact, it said as of 2016, construction's the fastest growing small business sector, generating double-digit growth, and contrary to popular belief, many of these successful construction firms are Black-owned. Would you agree?
I would agree, but I would also say it depends on the area, right?
Of course, yeah.
You know, obviously an area like Atlanta is going to have a lot more. DC
Yeah.
and Houston are going to have a lot more African American firms than I would say Wisconsin or an Iowa or even a Detroit for that matter. But you know, from when we started to where we are now, we do see a lot of other firms. As a matter of fact, two smaller construction firms were once our employees that we kind of helped out to kind of build their construction their construction firm right now. So it has grown. So it's better than being essentially only one of three African American larger construction firms in Milwaukee. So
yeah, and so what is even more awesome is that you guys are willing to spread the knowledge and
Yeah.
help out those who are also looking to do things as well.
yeah, we're probably going to train our competition one day, which is fine because
Yeah.
it needs to be there. No one needs to be
Absolutely.
the only person there, especially in the city of Milwaukee that's 40 to 42% African American. You want to make sure that, and you know, it's important to spread entrepreneurship as well.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And I'm seeing your jacket says Equity Supply Group.
Right.
And this is another business that you've put under the umbrella of JCP Construction.
Correct. It's a standalone. Yes, correct. It's a standalone business. I'm actually the president of that company. So, but I'm not on the day-to-day anymore at JCP Construction. Full-term Equity Supply Group, where we sell traffic coated materials. Waterproofing traffic coated materials and other construction materials. We saw that there was a niche in the industry, and we kind of went for it.
Wow.
You know, we wanted to make sure that we kind of, my brothers James and Jalen and myself wanted to make sure that we kind of diversified. As if construction would get slow, then we can find other ways of revenue.
So you're paying attention to what's going on in the business.
Correct.
And capitalizing off of. It's kind of like looking at the stock market every day and knowing what's hot and what's not.
Correct, and I got to give my older brother James the credit for the supply company. I thought it was pretty cheesy when he first mentioned it, but it actually kind of has good cash flow.
I love that. So talk about the importance, especially you've talked about your father, and you obviously have great memories of everything he's instilled into you and your brothers. Talk about building this business and the legacy using your father's name.
Well, that's a good question. So let me just break it down. JCP Construction is essentially James and Jalen, my younger and older brother, and then Clifton, and then our last name Phelps. So that legacy, leaving that legacy there is very important for us because we essentially want to have a legacy for our kids. You know, once they get older, they can kind of point to projects that we've done or the building that we have or other buildings that we have purchased throughout the city and understand that our name kind of stands alone.
Yeah.
And then also what I think was more important than just having a name there is just not having a name that's good for just, you know, this time span, but having a name that lasts kind of throughout so people can kind of build up a dynasty.
And you talked about buildings that you've worked on.
Yep.
So off the top, there's a long list, but some familiar sites around the city that you guys have been involved in, the New Bucks Arena.
Yep.
The MSOE soccer and parking facility, and then the Medical College of Wisconsin, you've done work there as well. So when you're driving around the city and, you know, you're looking around, what particular site or building would you say gives you the most pride that you've worked on?
Well, I would say there's a couple.
Okay.
So
that's fair.
I would say, I would say probably one of the most proud buildings I would say that my brother James would probably say would be the Pete's right now.
Okay.
Because
the market.
that survived. That not only helped with the food drought.
Yeah.
It helped by bringing a spot that was essentially dead for the last 10 years there, and that was with the help of Kalen Haywood from the Haywood Group.
Yeah, and he's been on the show.
Oh, he has?
Yeah, he has. So
And
it's wonderful.
The other projects I would say would be probably Bader, and Bader's ran by my brother Jalen. Bader Philanthropies that moved on Concordia and King Drive. And I think that that's an investment in the community that's important. To take your organization from the third ward over to King Drive. I think that's saying a lot for that organization in terms of where putting your money where your mouth is, taking a building that could have easily got torn down by the city, like so many other of those buildings, like QF&H over there, they got tore down, and actually putting close to $12 million in that building as an investment in the community. That's walking distance from where we grew up. So.
I love that. And you also mentioned that your offices are also on King Drive. So there's a lot of symbolism there because we know that Bronzeville just holds a history of people having their own and working for their own and passing on that legacy.
I agree.
You fit right in, right?
Yeah, it's right. It's easy. Everything's right on King Drive. So it's easy to point out the projects that are actually making the progress.
That's awesome. Talk about the importance of providing jobs to people here in the city when it comes to construction.
It's very important. When you look at we're a union shop, so when you look at someone actually making on a check $22 an hour at the lowest mark and up to $28 or $36 an hour, now that's a wage that can actually feed a family. That's not having a job fair and actually hiring someone that makes $12 an hour, that can't really pay for everything, that the necessities in life. But the fact that we're able to grab people from our community, put them on projects that we're currently working in the community, even outside the community in downtown, that's big.
Yeah.
I mean, these people make sometimes north of $80,000 a year, plus pension benefits, plus health insurance. That's a lot.
I think that sends a message.
That's self-sustaining.
Yeah, that sends a message that if somebody's thinking about what to go into, construction's not a bad choice. And what brought my attention to you and bringing you here today is the Milwaukee Business Journal. They put out an annual list of 40 under 40. And it's their way of recognizing Milwaukee area leaders under the age of 40 that are making a huge impact in their field of business. I know a lot of people are saying, wow, he's under 40 and doing all of these things. How did you feel when you were notified about getting this award?
I was excited. Yeah, I was excited because it's essentially when you get that award, it's an essential sign that you're doing actually something good. I think that getting that award or getting that notification, I was super excited. Of course, I was,
needless to say, right?
Yeah. I'll say
and it's a great networking opportunity because you have 39 other people who are also awarded, who are working in every different sector around the city and surrounding areas, and you pretty much get an opportunity to kind of rub elbows and meet some people who you could work with in the future.
Yeah, meet some great people. I went to a PNC event the other day, and I ran into one of my fellow 40. The name escapes me, but this is in a different network that I'm not even used to. So it kind of branches you out, and these are your classmates. So
now it's my understanding that you guys did a photo shoot at the Wisconsin Humane Society, which I thought was awesome. So I saw this picture of you hanging out with a cool cat, so to speak.
Go adopt that cat.
Oh, I loved it. So what was that like?
It was fun. It was fun. It was for a good cause, for the Humane Society. But I'll never get used to a cat walking around my shoulder blades. It's like you never.
So your kids weren't like, Daddy, can we have them?
Absolutely. No, we had 2 dogs already.
Okay,
2 dogs and an iguana, by the way.
Wow.
Yeah,
okay.
You can have that iguana too.
The last thing I wanted to bring up is the fact that you are not only providing jobs through JCP Construction with your brothers to the community, but you also work on several boards. You're on the board for the African American Chamber of Commerce and the Running Rebels and MLK EDC. And what's most important as we wrap up is the fact that you guys have worked with MPS in the past in helping really give kids hands-on experience when dealing with construction and engineering. So that's awesome in itself.
Yeah, I think that's what we're here for. If we don't give it back, all those boards that you mentioned actually give it back and actually help the community. So they're working boards, and I think that's important, especially with the MPS kids.
Yeah, well, congratulations on all of your accomplishments that you've achieved under the age of 40, which in my opinion means there's a sign of much greater things to come, and continued success to you and your family.
Okay. Well,
It's been
thank
a
you. I
pleasure.
appreciate you guys, or appreciate you having me. I'm sorry.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you. Clifton Phelps is a partner of JCP Construction and president of Equity Supply Group. When we return to Our Issues Milwaukee, we'll meet a young man who is a student at Marquette University and has already created his own clothing line. We'll meet Austin Moultrie and find out more about the Poise movement right after this.